Good morning and welcome to the Thursday edition of your Breakfast on Leadership Television inside Nigeria. Today is Thursday, January 9, 2025. And of course, this is the first Thursday in the year 2025. My name is Winifred Ugbebo, your host on the program. On today's program, we are going to be looking at headline stories of some select newspapers, including Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's see what the papers are saying this Thursday, starting with Leadership newspaper. Leadership says JAPA syndrome, medical doctors turn to artificial intelligence for diagnosis. JAPA syndrome in medical doctors turn to artificial intelligence for diagnosis. Experts divided tax government on investment. AI orders can reduce human error by 99%, coming from doctors. No is no substitute for human expertise. Consultants is a welcome development, coming from federal government. We also have the picture of 59 children between ages of 4 and 12 intercepted in a 15-seater bus by the FCT Police Command in Abuja yesterday. Same picture on some other select newspapers on our menu this Thursday. Terrorists kill 18 people in Imo. We are united, says Northern Elders Forum. Port Harcourt Warri Refineries, Okukpe apologizes to Kyari over criticism. Union Abuja denies breach of law in VC appointment. We move gradually to the masthead of leadership. JAPA, Agberu, Egba, 419, 16 other Nigerian words included in Oxford Dictionary. The story runs on page 7 of leadership. JAPA, Agberu, Egba, 419, 16 other Nigerian words included in Oxford Dictionary. Let's go to page 7 and see some other words that are included in Oxford Dictionary. We have the Oxford English Dictionary has added a collection of Nigerian words to its latest update. The new 20 entries include terms like Jakpa, 419, Agberu, Abi, Area Boy, Yahoo, Edo, Kanuri, Jand, Cross Carpet, Kobo, Niger, and Suya. These additions showcase Nigerians' cultural diversity, daily life, and street culture, while highlighting the rising influence of Pidgin English across Africa and beyond. Jakpa, 419, Agberu, Abi, Area Boy, Yahoo, Edo, Kanuri, Jand, Cross Carpet, Kobo, Niger, and Suya are among the new words unveiled yesterday. Many of these words serve multiple grammatical functions. These are in addition to at least 57 Nigerian words in the dictionary. Kingsley Ogwanyi, a Nigerian English consultant to the Oxford English Dictionary, played a key role in this update. Announcing the list on LinkedIn, the linguistic researcher wrote, "I'm thrilled to announce that the Oxford English Dictionary from Oxford Languages has officially published its latest update, featuring a fantastic collection of Nigerian English words that beautifully reflect Nigeria's culture, creativity, and the unique ways we express ourselves as Nigerians." That's a good one for Nigeria, who actually uses slangs and some cultural diversity in its everyday communication. We have Jakpa, Agberu, Eba, 419, and Yahoo, among many others that's been included in Oxford Dictionary. On the business bus of leadership, we have core data rate increase imminent as federal government agrees to tariff raise. And above the masthead of leadership, tax reform, northern governors not fighting Tinubu, Sule. 34 terrorist soldiers killed in Damboa attack, coming from defense headquarters. And that takes us to the page 3 of today's leadership, where we have our stand. Today's stand is on the reforms Nigeria desperately needs. Of course, it's a story, it's a column, or sorry, opinion you want to read to find out what the reforms are that Nigeria desperately needs. From our stand, we move to the back page where we have Being Blunt with Muazu Elize. Today's bluntness is on LNG, 6 of 1.5 dozen. And in quote, if the PDP was a colossal failure, the APC has been a failure pro max. Coming from LMD seats of 1.5 a dozen. Being blunt with Muazu Elize. With that, we conclude review of Leadership newspaper this Thursday. For more, log on to www.leadership.ng. From leadership, we move to the next paper we have on our menu, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard says states race to build airports as hunger bites harder. States race to build airports as hunger bites harder. As hunger ravages the land, governors compete to build airports, spend 181 billion naira. Airports built by states not viable, experts, fan MDs. Note revenue generated can't maintain airports, which put more burden on FAAN. Ask federal government to stop granting licenses to governors on airport development. This is a good leading story, and of course, very, very instructive leading story today on Vanguard newspapers. As states race to build airports, as hunger bites harder. And Obi says, I received APC spokesman on Obi's alleged death threats. I received over 200 death threats coming from the APC spokesman. He said, we won't dignify mockers' claims with response, obedience. Ohaneze presidency, I'll use my experience, contacts to tackle insecurity in Southeast if Okiro. Alleged $2.1 billion fraud, court strikes out abuse of office charge against Emefiele. And in sports, rage over Super Eagles' new coach. Above the masthead of Vanguard, businessman asks court to reverse sale of his 43 million shares to telecom firm. Federal government won't approve 100% tariff increase for telcos, minister. Wike Fubara orders should work with ATA-led committee, Pandev. I grew from Amajiri School to become CEO of NNPCL, Mele Kyari. Okupe apologizes to Kyari over past comments on NNPCL. That also concludes review of front headline stories on Vanguard today, this Thursday. For more, log on to the website of Vanguard newspaper. With that, we move to the next paper, and that is The Punch. The Punch says federal government 9 billion naira e-border project fails to stop bandits, illegal aliens. Federal government 9 billion naira e-border project fails to stop bandits, illegal aliens. Illegal Niger, Cameroon immigrants infiltrate Jigawa, Taraba, others, borders automated, insists Interior Minister. We have the picture, just like leadership, of the 559 Kano children that were rescued in Abuja yesterday. We have the pictures on the cover of the Punch newspaper, just like leadership. Underneath it, we have federal government to take over Amajiri schools, how soldiers repaired Boko Haram attack, killed 34 terrorists, defense headquarters. Hunger, Tinubu under pressure to dump food import waiver. Beside the masthead of the Punch, just like leadership captured it, JAPA, Agbero, Eba, 17 other Nigerian words added to Oxford Dictionary. Emefiele loses bid to stop $4.5 billion, 2.8 billion naira fraud trial. Ganduje tackles Obi as APC spokesman receives 200 death threats. Court orders forfeiture of 228 million naira linked to ex-governor Orji. With that, we also conclude review of front headline stories on The Punch this Thursday, January 9, 2025. For continuation of these headline stories, log on to the website of The Punch. From The Punch, we move over to the next paper on our menu, and that is THISDAY. THISDAY says First Bank shareholders demand EGM wants Otedola or Modayo Wotuga ousted. Move against 360 billion naira private placement of bank shares. National Assembly forced 2024 budget's poor implementation. And above the masthead of THISDAY, NGS, that is the Nigerian Exchange Limited, recorded 12.17 trillion naira worth of FGN bonds corporate listings in 2024, set to improve framework on borrowing by government corporates. China Development Bank releases $255 million for Nigeria's Kaduna-Kano Rail project. The story runs on page 33 of THISDAY newspaper. With that also, we bring to an end the review of front headline stories on THISDAY newspaper. For more, log on to the website www.thisdaylive.com. From THISDAY, we move to the last paper we have on our menu, and that is The Guardian. The Guardian says anxiety as execution of federal government's free cesarean section initiative stalls. Anxiety as execution of federal government's free cesarean section initiative stalls. Data of potential beneficiaries, facilities, store planning, rollout, initiative to cost federal government between 200,000 and 300,000 naira per delivery. Pregnant women, care workers unaware of modalities. NMA, NAROD, Lord Initiative urge inclusion of private medical facilities. Federal government criticized over jumbo packs for military, politicians' orders. Students stay away in Calabar despite school resumption. Bauchi government budgets 400 million naira to procure 6 computers for SSG's office. Bauchi government budgets 400 million naira to procure 6 computers for SSG's office. EFCC detains, probes 10 operatives from Lagos Command for theft. National Assembly condemns poor 2024 budget execution, demands on 7 of THISDAY newspaper. And that also concludes the review of front headline stories on today's Inside Nigeria. The second segment of the program is coming in shortly with our guest in the studio. Don't go away, stay tuned. Good morning once again and welcome to the program Inside Nigeria, your breakfast on leadership television. My name is Winifred Webber once again, and because I have with me in the studio this Thursday, Itive Nuruddin. He is a public affairs analyst. Welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Today's stories, of course, there are many stories, diverse stories gracing the cover of some select newspapers. Those are the ones we have on our menu today. But we are going to be looking at the one of Vanguard. Vanguard says states race to build airports as hunger bites harder. Of course, it's a story that has always caught deep. Many Nigerians are speculating. Recently, I even received a viral video from from the states that okay, how many traffic did this airport that was newly built generate during the holiday? Why are state governments racing to build airports when they know that there is no traffic, there is no business whatsoever that is driving traffic to the state?
First, I will say that construction of airports in any state or by any government is not a bad idea. The only issue is that it is being done at the very wrong time and for the very wrong reasons. A lot of state-owned airports are running in the country. Like you rightly stated, there is low traffic recorded in these airports. One of the major reasons which I think these governors are going into airport projects is one, is a mega project. And maybe for corruption reason, it's also one of the
I was
reasons
just
why
going
people,
to try it because people say that they see it as a conduit.
yes, to siphon money. That aside, there's another reason of luxury. The bourgeois in the state who fly private jets, they may not want to fly to other states, then use road traffic to their various destinations. So for that reason, they want it situated in their state, even against the economic advantage of the state. So I think that's one of the major reasons why this is going on. It's for the bourgeois, because the common man, obviously, if there's traffic, the indices will show it.
This is, yes, you know? Definitely show it. And of course, the writer said that as even hunger ravages the land, governments compete to build airports, spend 181 billion naira. Airports built by states not viable, according to experts and even this Federal Aviation of Nigeria MDs, the former MDs, and that revenue generated can't even maintain airports, which put more burden on
the state government and even on the state governments.
Yes.
You know.
And they have actually asked, these experts have asked federal government to stop granting licenses to governors on airport development. Can it be done?
Yes, it is the prerogative of the federal government to do or not to do. Yes, I think they should. They should at this point, because ordinarily the economy is not encouraging. Then if we are going to add this to the burden of every state, where the finances available are not even enough to cater for the plight of the people, then you are actually robbing them of their good fortune.
All right. Thank you. So we move over to leadership. Leadership, some of the leading stories on leadership today is on the issue of tax reform. It's a northern governors not fighting Tinubu. This is coming from Governor Sule of Nasarawa State. And today, since the federal government sent executive order for those tax reform bills, there are controversies. Controversies have continued to trade those reform bills, especially with the northern governors and northern elders from saying no to those reform bills.
This reform bill has gathered a lot of dust, or raised a lot of dust, rather. But even among the leadership of the North, we have seen diverse views. For example, someone like a former Speaker of the House of Reps, Yakubu Dogara, I watched a series of his in a town hall meeting where he took his time to give his analysis that, look, if there is any bill he has seen that actually portrays the true paradigm of advancement, it is this taxation bill. For several reasons, a lot of persons are not too comfortable with it, and that is natural for change. Whenever change is coming, there are those who want to hold on to the old ways, and there are those who are more progressive and looking forward to what is yet to come. So what I can say at this point is for all stakeholders in the region particularly, because if you look at the uproar that has been raised so far, it has come from the north particularly. A lot of the southern leaders have given nod to this bill. So it's for the leaders to sit down and say, what are the other leaders saying that we are not saying? Then how can we really abandon this old way so that we can embrace a more a holistic, progressive idea for the development of this country and as well for our region? And so far, so good. one of the hallmark of this bill
Mm.
is the fact that it gives more power to governments to begin to generate their own revenue, to push for economic development of their region, and not to sit down and wait for the allocation that comes solely from the federal government.
Government.
So I think it's a bill that we should give applause to.
Okay, but do you also think that the federal government may have put the cart before the horse in presenting this bill, in the sense that it didn't do much of consultation first before presenting this bill?
Truly, we have representative of every region in this country at the National Assembly. For any bill to go to the House of Reps or the Senate, whether we like it or not, there's a certain level of consultation between members. You can't just present a bill. So what I think happened was that there was a deficit in educating the public.
It was
And
actually
actually,
executive bills.
Because we've had a case like this in my early years as an investigative journalist. I think one of the issues that caused problem with me and one state government was the issue of taxation, whereby there was an amendment to a taxation bill, and public hearing was not even conducted for people to bring in their input. Whether we like it or not, this is a sensitive bill, because any bill that stumbles or borders on taxation, it trickles down to the common man. So if the common man, if there's anything that will weigh over their head when it comes to more financial burden, the people should also be consulted viably for their input. And I think that is one of the faults of the federal government representation of this bill. Not that the bill is bad, but there was no thorough education and seeking of certain inputs from the public on the matter.
All right. So what are we going to have at the end of the day? How are you going to get the governors to buy in? Those that are recalcitrant and say, no, this bill is not for our progress. So how are you going to get their buy-in into this bill?
But that is the beauty of democracy. The minority will have their say. Majority will have their way. Eventually, when the bill comes to the House, when the House resumes officially, the bill will come before the House, and the majority will have their way. If those who are in support of the bill are more than those who are saying no to the bill will go ahead. So that at that point, the minority would have stated clearly that this and this and these are the issues that we have against this bill. And I do look forward to the point where the majority will give a little consent to what the minority is saying, little compromises here and there for the bill to scale through.
Thank you. Now, many people are also saying that this tax reform bill is a precursor to true federalism, fiscal federalism in the country. Do you see that way?
Yes, in fact, a lot of, in Nigeria, we tend to have several dimensions of development.
On the backdrop of the Supreme Court ruling on local government financial autonomy.
Yes, we tend to have several opinions to development. We have the political axis of it and the economic axis of it. Economically, this bill gives fiscal power to regional development as well as state development. But then politically, it whittles down the power of certain elements. So I think that the political elements who they feel their power will be whittled down by this bill are those who are coming up to say no. That if we do this, we are by extension cutting down some of the powers of the presidency, which overlooks all other regions in the country, and giving a bit more power to the regions. So I think that is why some of these persons are coming up to say no. But physically, I do not think anything is wrong with the bill. I've also sought opinion of legal practitioners and even retired experts in economic and taxation.
Okay. And so some of the beliefs or factors being held by those opposing it say that how can you introduce tax again at this critical point in our history when hardship is ravaging the land. They talked about increasing VAT, the new tax reform bill also part of it. Do you share that part in their view?
The only problem I have with taxation in this country is that what we cannot pinpoint what we have done with the revenue we have from natural resources. So whenever there's a case of increase in VAT or taxation for the common man, I feel pained because, look, if we cannot give account for the plethora of funds and largesse we've gotten from natural resources, why do we think that we are going to get any headway from what we will gather from taxation. So they have also given their reasons for the increase in VAT and all that is for our common good, but then it is what it is.
All right, thank you so much. Now, even on our papers today, we have two on our lineup, and that is leadership. We have 59 children that were rescued between the ages of 4 and 12 that were intercepted in a 15-seater boat by the FCT Police Command in Abuja yesterday. And same headline story too, one of the headline stories too on the Punch newspaper. But the Punch says that federal government 9 billion naira e-border project fails to stop bandits and illegal aliens.
I find this headline a bit funny because when you say illegal aliens, do we say they are legal aliens? So, but, but however, it does not negate the fact, the essence of the whole story.
Well, it says illegal Niger, Cameroon immigrants infiltrate Jigawa, Taraba, others. And why Interior Minister insists that the borders are automated. Actually, why are we still having recently the security operatives were talking about Lakurawa?
The Lakurawas and all that. We have a problem with borders in Nigeria. We cannot
but
fault.
There are more porous in the north than
yes, we cannot fault. How many borders do we really have in the south? Apart from Lagos and maybe some few water sides to Cameroon and all that. You know? The bulk of the borders are in the north. And we have a problem with border policing and border projects in Nigeria. It is not a new problem. It has been since even the time of military era and all that before we got to this current dispensation. We have borders in some states. I was in the north at some point where I said, let me traverse to some other countries. And I realized that when I was even crossing the border, there was nobody to ask me questions.
You just drove seamlessly.
You get there, they will tell you to get down from your vehicle and trek. Once you trek to the other side, they say, enter your vehicle again and go. And that is what is happening in some borders. So, and in those borders, you see that there are bush paths where certain persons who are moving contraband goods are using them to get into the country and to get out of the country. If they can do that for contraband goods, they can also do that for terrorism. They can also do that to perpetrate crime. So I think the federal government should put in more effort. The issue of e-border project, when you talk about e-border, you're talking more of electronic. And internet-based and all that. A lot of those who use this, so we should have more physical borders installed and properly policed. It is not too big a project to be done, rather than this e-border and all that. And look at the amount of money that is going down for such.
Well, thank you so much. Now, also stories that is making the runs on papers is the defense headquarters saying how soldiers repaired Boko Haram attack killed 34 terrorists in Damboa, that is Borno State. However, this is coming after a report by one of the national newspapers, Daily Trust, yesterday, detailing how bandits sacked military command in Borno State, and as it is that mostly half of those forces are still missing. And one was born to ask that this is an attack that took place 4 days ago and nothing was mentioned about it.
We cannot confirm, not deny. I'm not the spokesperson of defense headquarters. It behoves on them to come out to tell us the true picture and position of things. But however, January 15 is coming, Armed Forces Remembrance Day. I want to use this avenue to give kudos to the Nigerian Army for whatever they are doing to keep the peace and security in this country. It is not easy.
No, it's not.
Although they are being paid to do the job, it is their job to do, but we must also give them the kudos for doing it. And I say this because there are a lot of persons who are losing their life, and because it is not close to us as public, we do not really know that people are dying in the battlefield.
That's exactly what I said yesterday.
I have a friend who just lost his younger brother, a soldier who was posted to Borno, in this fight against terrorism. So on that ground, these are human beings. These are families that are losing their sons to keeping the peace and security of this country. So, but for certain reasons too, as a communication person, you should know that is not every information you bring out to the public. One, when you inform the public too much, you're also informing the terrorists, because they're also checking out for information to know exactly what is happening. So sometimes those information are hoarded by security operatives, not because they do not wish to bring them out, but because for security reasons, they can't also bring such information out. And I give kudos for the Nigerian army for what they have done. Defense headquarters, they say they repelled Boko Haram attack and killed 34 terrorists. We call on them to also continue to do what they are doing. Nigerians, and we give them their support. I believe the federal government has also given them requisite support. They should also intensify their effort. That is all I can say on this issue.
But why are we having the hard time in our battle against terrorism?
You see, terrorism is hard to combat. It is not like the conventional warfare where you know your enemies.
Like Deliton said today, Nigeria to UN pro Boko Haram's funding training. CDS, like Chief of Defense Staff, suspects international conspiracy.
I saw the interview when he did it. I saw the interview on one of these international.
I said, now my CDS is JAPA.
There are issues, whether we like it or not. In illegal asset tracing and recovery, when we went for those training as investigative journalists, then they say follow the money. If you want to track anything, just follow the money. How is the money? Who is sending to who? And where is the money being used? With that, you can easily detect what is happening. Who is funding Boko Haram? Who is funding terrorism in Nigeria?
However, if I may interject, during President Muhammad Buhari's administration, the United Arab Emirates did release some Nigerian names among some of those suspected to be funding terrorism.
Yes.
And nothing came out at the end of the day.
We cannot say nothing came out. The federal government and the military have their own processes of addressing issues. They may not come out openly to say this is what we are doing in court or this is what we are doing, but we believe that such information is guiding them to take certain decisions in the war theater. So I believe that with time, maybe this information may come out. We understand this how complex security apparatus of any country can be. That is why some of us may not push so hard for certain details to get to the public hands.
Okay. Well, all things being equal, Nigerians are waiting with bated breath as call and data rate increase is imminent. Federal government agrees to tariff raise. Of course, this has been a back and forth thing between the federal government and telcos since last year. Now, federal government has given its nod for the increase. What are we going to be having? Can Nigerians take another burden?
It is terrible that just the beginning of a new year, this is what we are going to stumble on and suffer as Nigerians. We are suffering enough already in this country. Fuel price issues here and there, taxation, food, cost of food, even rent has gone up. A lot of landlords and property owners all over the country are increasing their rents. Now we still have to battle with tariff raise. Meanwhile, the income remains the same. It spells more hardship for Nigerians, but we have to buckle up and maybe explore other legal alternative sources of income while we pray that Nigeria economy gets better.
Well, leadership news update projects at the beginning of the year that this year 2025 looks hopeful with economic improvement. Do you share in that?
Yes, I share in it because before the end of last year, we saw news of Port Harcourt refinery coming up, Warri refinery coming up, Dangote refinery is up and doing. So with this, there will be reduction in imports of petroleum products. So we'll be having more homegrown or home refined products. I think that will cut down on the amount of money we're spending on importation, particularly as it relates to petroleum product, which is a mainstay in our economy. And then we've also recorded a little bit growth in our economic development index. And we pray that the policies of the federal government, which they have put in place last year, some of them are very dire decisions that have been taken that are actually pinning down on the fortunes of Nigerians or the relaxation of Nigerians. But then they are necessary, as the president said. We hope that they will materialize soon and our fortunes will shine for good. It's a new year.
It's a new year for that. Well, moving ahead, at least they're sharing news. It's not bad news. We have a story is also in leadership today. Jakpa Gberu Eba, 17 other Nigerian words added to Oxford Dictionary. You have anything to say?
Ah,
Agbero. Of course, the word that is used in everyday slang. We even have a jand. When they
yes,
say somebody jand, that means the person has traveled abroad.
Nigerians, because of how voracious we
Things
can
like
be.
JAPA,
Yes,
419, Agbero, Abi.
Abi,
Nigerians are fond of using the
area
slang.
boy,
Abi, of course, that's
Abi no
bad.
be
Abi,
so,
no be so.
na
Abi,
so,
Eba, area boy, Yahoo boy, Yahoo,
419.
Edo, Kanuri,
Ah,
Jan, Cross Carpet, Kobo, Niger, and Suya. These are some of
suya.
the words.
Oh, that should come very handy.
Yeah, it's really, really interesting.
It
We
makes
even
it
have Danfo, Okada, Next Tomorrow, and Mama Put
wonderful.
that were included.
This is a plus for Nigeria.
Yeah, it is.
This time, it is not our professors of English or linguistics that are putting new words into the dictionary, but it is because of the usage of these words by Nigerians who are spread all over the world that I think has pushed the professors of linguistics and authorities of linguistics all over the world to see to it that these words are also imputed in our vocabulary worldwide. It's a kudos to Nigerians for this.
Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you on the program. It's on this note we've come to the end of today's show, Inside Nigeria. Of course, I've had the pleasure of having company with me, Itive Nuruddin. Thank you so much.
My
I
pleasure.
look forward to having you same
I hope you call on me next time. I will be here.
Definitely. Well, viewers, this is where we draw the curtain on today's show. Don't forget to join us same time, same station for another edition of the program tomorrow. My name is Winifred Weber. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.